Now, that measure is just one of several that the president has taken to penalize higher education institutions since taking office. The spending bill, for example, that was approved by the U.S. House of Representatives Thursday also increases a tax on the richest private universities pay on their endowment investment gains, which proponents say will rein in so-called woke schools. For more on all of this, then, France 24's international affairs commentator Douglas Herbert joins me on set. Hi, Doug. So
that's a mouthful, right?
It is indeed. As far as the as this latest in the Harvard saga goes, China has said that this particular decision will tarnish Washington's image. Are they right? What effect do you think this will have on the United States at large?
Look, Harvard University, and not just Harvard, the whole stable of Ivy League universities and top-rate educational institutions in the United States, Harvard and its peers known as the Ivy League, they are, when you talk about American soft power, when you talk about American innovation, when you talk about the excellence of American academic research, scientific research notably, it's not a coincidence. Harvard has produced over its history, which dates back, by the way, to 1636, bears reminding, 162 Nobel laureates. 162. I think that's unrivaled by any other institution, not just in America, but in the world, any single institution. So what does this mean? It's not an overnight. All of a sudden, you're going to wake up and blink and, oh, Harvard's gone. Harvard Yard is no longer there. It will survive, but in what form is it going to survive? Because foreign students are at Harvard. I'll give an example. I was a graduate student there back in the 90s, and I did Russian studies. My program was a small program. I had lecturers who were dedicated to a small lecturing group of about 8 to 10 students. Over half in most of my lectures were foreign students. So when I was studying Russia, I had a Japanese student peer in the course with me. I had a Polish colleague. It was part of the exchange. It made Harvard what it was. It's the reason you argue that you would choose to go to Harvard to study something like, say, Russian studies, as I did, over perhaps another school. I know it sounds cliche to talk about the richness of foreign students, what they bring to a university, but we have to understand that where Trump looks at this and sees it as Harvard opening itself up to, just looking at its bottom line, because foreign students, as you said, they pay the full tuition. They don't benefit from federal, grants and student aid and student subsidies. So it's just purely about money, money, money. No, they bring a richness in the academic fabric. They bring that exchange. They bring the diversity of perspectives that there's literally no other way of bringing to the classrooms, to the courses, to the faculties, to the professors also who are attracted there. So when you take away that component, when you sort of threaten to ban Harvard certification, student visa certification, and kick it out of that whole system, what you're essentially saying is Harvard's no longer Harvard, right? France 24, right? We broadcast in what? 4 languages, French, English, Arabic, and Spanish. It's essentially as if Emmanuel Macron turns around and said, France 24, you can't broadcast in English, Arabic, or Spanish anymore. You could keep the French part. That's it. It's not who you are. It's not the reason, the raison d'etre of the station. And Harvard could make a similar argument. Yeah, it's not a broadcaster, it's not a newsroom, but it can make the argument that it is about its foreign students. I think we've reported the figure right. This year's class of a Harvard class, a university class, 6,800, that's 27%. Foreign students, 20, and there's some graduate schools, including the Kennedy School of Government, which are predominantly a majority are foreign students. We're not talking about a trickle of students who are targeted by this. We are talking about the very essence of what makes Harvard, Harvard, and by extension, the very essence of what makes a lot of top universities in America who are able to attract the best and brightest in the world what they are. You are basically not just chopping down a pillar of America's soft power, undermining America's ability to project itself in that way in the world as it has for decades, some would say for a couple of centuries now. You are basically emasculating the entire identity of the institution itself.
And some of its hard power, so to speak, because we know that these graduates go on to become essential components to some of the biggest companies, the most important and profitable companies and research institutions, even
all over the world.
In the U.S., Doug. Okay, well, Harvard, of course, I imagine will presumably continue to fight back.
You don't have to presume, Erin, and the reason you don't have to presume is because they are fighting back. They already are in court. You'll remember that last month, the federal government, Trump administration, basically revoked over $2 billion. I'm not saying that wrong, not million, $2 billion in federal grant subsidies to Harvard University because it wasn't basically doing Trump's bidding. It was resisting his MAGA agenda with regards to hiring and firing practices, its curriculum, so on and so forth. It said, we're not doing it. Columbia University bent. It made concessions in order to get back $400 million in grants. A lot of people came under a lot of fire and criticism in many parts of the community. Harvard said, we're not doing it. So it's already has taken essentially the Trump administration to court, and it is made clear in a statement. It's called this governmental action illegal, this latest one, the banning certification of foreign students' visas in the system. It says we're going to fight it, essentially. They are determined to fight it, not just for Harvard, as Harvard sees it, but also for the good of America. They say they're trying to make the broader picture here. This is not just about the benefit of one institution. It is about what we were talking about earlier. It is about the image of America in the world and America's ability to continue to be, for many, not for all, a shining beacon of opportunity, of openness, and of academic excellence.
Doug, we'll see where this takes them in terms of the legal battle to come, as you said there. Thank you very much. Well, in other news, despite few hints of optimism